young men do not know they're being sexually assaulted by older women, not because they.
Okay, please go take the time to fully watch this video. And TJ, if you're watching, at the end of the video, you said something about like it's too late to really feel how those things impacted you because you've built a wall. I just want to say it's never too late to feel it at all, and it's so important that you do and get past that wall, and you definitely can, and you are strong enough and more than capable. And to anybody else who thinks that too, that it's too late, like too much time has passed, it has not. But I want to speak on this topic more because I posted a while back how like sexual abuse and trauma usually early on starts a bit different for boys and girls, and how he explained it in one part, like the grooming or the way that men or women teach boys how it is to be a man. It's to be like overly sexual, like they have to have sex and do these things with girls and do these things or whatever to be a man, or to like it's a kind of rite of passage type of thing. And then it does get passed off, like these comments he was making for both genders, like adults, like, or adults saying for both genders, like babies or kids, whatever, oh, they're so sexy. And like he said, like, oh, they're gonna when you grow up this and that. No adult should be calling kids at any age sexy. Go look up the definition, please, of what sexy means. Saying someone's cute, adorable, beautiful, handsome, that's not the same thing as calling somebody sexy. So anyway, yes. Okay, so the sexual trauma for boys starts different. It's more in a way like you have to be sexual in order to be a boy, right? So then they're already being hypersexualized at a young age different. With girls, it's like you can't wear this or you can't do that, or you're going to be a hoe, blah, 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 blah. With boys, it's like you got to do this and do that to be a man, to be strong, to be whatever. So it's like a cycle that's starting so much, right? And then this is where there's a lot of kids because someone older is doing it to them, but also they start playing house or whatever, doing these sexual acts with each other, right? Because even teenagers, you still be kids, right? Anyways, this is something I carried a lot of shame for because I was the kid who like was pressured, and other kids initiated things. Sometimes I wanted to, sometimes I didn't. And I was also the kid who was initiating and also pressuring, and sometimes the other kids wanted to, sometimes they didn't, right? And even when everybody wants to, even we're kids, right? There's things we should not be doing. And this all goes, it goes so much deeper. Like these whole topics go so much deeper because that starts from, for one, like I said, some kids are actually getting sexually abused by either older kids or adults, right? But with the adults, most adults, especially a long time ago, I feel like people definitely are changing now. They're not teaching kids boundaries. And it starts from something as simple as your aunt or your mom, grandma, grandpa, whatever, or the actual parent wants to hug the kid or give the kid a kiss, and the kid doesn't want to, and you're like, oh, there's a squirrel. You're like, oh, that's your mom, that's your aunt, go hug them. We need to stop doing that. Do not force your kids, your nephews, whatever, to hug, kiss, stand by, sit on the lap, whatever, of someone they don't want to. If you are actually paying attention with your eyes and your ears, babies younger than 1 will communicate to you, even without words, that they don't want to be touched. When they do and don't want to be touched, you can easily see that if you're actually trying to. But we override it a lot, and we don't teach boundaries. We teach from young age that you accept whatever touch you get, or people that are in a relationship thinking that they have to have sex, they have to kiss, they have to let you touch them because you're in a relationship with them. That's not the case. Anybody who feels like they have any type of entitlement over your body, that needs to be checked. But it starts so young with so many different things, right? And then all these acts, right? Everything in general is energy, and everything in general is an energy exchange, right? But when it comes to sexual things, whether it's consensual or non-consensual, really like affect the brain physically. And then there's an energetic part of it too, where you're transferring those energies, those demons, whatever. This is about to get super deep, and I'm speaking on this because it all aligns, right? When it is forceful, especially with adults, right? Or it doesn't have to be forceful specifically, but sexual abuse, sexual like grape all of that. And I say it doesn't have to be forceful, because sometimes those acts are not actually like forceful and aggressive, but it's still happening, right? There is a certain energy behind that. There are, what if you want to call them, demons, entities, whatever. Ultimately, we all have control, right? We have control also of purging these demons, these entities, and cleansing our energy of these things. But when you experience something like that, it also, that energy transfers to you. You might not project it on, and it might not manifest in you the same way, but it's in there, right? Another thing I carried a lot of shame for, all of these things I no longer carry shame for, because I understand, right? And I also had therapy. This is my first time saying this one out loud, right? I used to fantasize about my some of my some of the people who sexually harassed me or sexually abused me, right? One being one of my aunt's boyfriends, the other one my dad. That was the biggest one that affected me, and the most that I had these fantasies about. And even like there was a time where I was addicted to porn, right? And I had to watch, or the one that aroused me the most was like specifically that had to do with dad and daughter, because that, when I tell you, it messed up my brain a lot, right? And there was a part of me that was always disgusted, and I always felt really bad and really shameful when it was happening, like the physical act with him itself. But when I would be fantasizing or watching these things, and immediately after I would feel disgusted, because that's not what I actually desired, that's not what I actually wanted. But because of the trauma, it wired my brain a certain way. When you go through these experiences, anything, they rewire your brain. And if you don't heal, like I said, if you don't heal, purge, fucking cleanse the demons, all the things, and do not, please misinterpret me, the demons and all these things, these energies, they're other aspects of you, right? There's a level of control that they have, but again, you have the ultimate control. And I say that in the way to not make an excuse for these people, because people will say, oh, the demons made me do it, the devil made me do it, blah blah blah. Don't let that slide so easily, because again, you can, I keep seeing 0717, you also have control, and those are you, just other aspects of you, lower, other energies, right? But it's all you. I trust y'all understand what I'm saying. My point is, the shame kept me from talking about these things and learning how deep it goes, and understanding that it wasn't just all me. That's not what I actually wanted. Again, like your shadows and stuff, right? You have to figure out what is actually you, what has been projected on upon you. Also, these things go back lineages in the whole ancestry. And let me say too, with the sexual abuse and stuff, that's usually happens mostly with people, you know, it's mostly within the family or family friends, stuff like that. And it keeps happening because when people do find out, there's a lot of shame, and they want to keep it quiet. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to teach it. They don't want to expose it, which is why I'm so grateful so many people are talking about this now, because the more it gets exposed, the more you can let go of the shame and understand yourself, learn about yourself, heal yourself, and all these things. The easier and the more we're going to break the cycles, break the change, and stop this from continuing on in the lineages, continuing on just in a general sense. But we really got to teach. Even grown adults don't understand and don't realize you don't have to let people touch you. Again, even mom, dad, brother, sister, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, if you don't want to be touched, you don't have to be. But we have to start teaching the babies, the young Ren, that they can say no. Like, it doesn't matter who it is, you know? And then also teaching them that just because something feels good does not mean that it's okay. Because there's also thing, like your body will react to certain things, just like, again, your brain gets rewired with certain things. A lot of people will get traumatized by something. Mostly, I'm speaking in the sexual aspect, and they are now, they like it because of what happens, and they look for it. Whether they either do it or they look for it to be done to them, or all of the above, right? But if you're someone who, like me, for a long time carried a lot of shame about these things, please know that, again, you can figure out what is actually you, what you actually like, and you don't have to carry this shame, this guilt, and you don't have to stay in that mindset. And also, I want to talk about the fucking porn. Those things transfer that energy too, watching stuff like that. The TV shows, I'm rushing because this is about to cut off. The TV shows, the movies, they mostly put a lot of pornography, and it's usually like younger people. If you really see what is going on in these fucking shows, you gotta be careful what you watch and what you listen to. You can heal yourself, you can let go of the shame. Please